Hello and welcome to episode 62 of the All Things Leeds podcast. Another episode from self-isolation. I'm NkGhTg and joining me over video call is again my co-host Charles Foster. Charles, hello.
Hi mate, you alright?
Yeah, you?
Yeah, I'm sound. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Just kind of enjoying the being inside once again for the billionth day in a row.
yeah. It's taking a toll on me now. Like a few weeks ago, I was doing fine, but now it's getting to the stage where I want to go outside freely and move around freely again. But before I move on to anything, though, before we get into anything, I do want to say again, please, everyone who is watching or listening right now, follow all the advice and all the guidelines from the government. Stay at home as much as you can to help save lives and the NHS. Of course, a big thank you as well to all NHS workers and key workers out there during this difficult time. Thank you so much for continuing to work. And as we keep on saying, this period it will affect a lot of people's mental health for this period. So if you are struggling, if you're feeling lonely during self-isolation, contact me or Charles for All Things Leeds. Our DMs are open, so just contact us on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or whatever. And yeah, hopefully we can offer some kind of value during these difficult and unprecedented times. But yeah, Charles, another week in lockdown. How's it going for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's going all right. I mean, I'm having to find new ways to entertain myself a lot of the time. So I started a Football Manager save and got Port Vale promoted in my first season. Came second, 89 points. I was buzzing.
Yeah, you were telling me this. Why Port Vale?
I wanted a team in League Two, and I've always liked Port Vale's badge. So they got a really cool club badge.
It's really weird,
literally no other reason than that. I don't like managing Leeds because there's too much pressure to win every game.
Yeah.
Whereas managing Port Vale, I don't care. Like emotionally, it doesn't affect me whatsoever.
So if you do bad with Port Vale, like at least I got to manage a club with a cool badge.
Yeah, cool badge, and I got promoted. So that's my achievement.
Fair enough. That's very weird to be honest. You just like Port Vale just because of a badge.
Well, yeah, I mean, people like clubs for weirder reasons than that, but
that's fair enough.
Yeah, that's just what I've been doing.
Yeah, if I was going to do a lower league team, I'd probably pick Farsley Celtic and just take them up to the Premier League all the way from the National League North. I'd probably just do that.
That'd be like a 7 or 8 season thing, though. Jesus.
Yeah, I'd get straight promotions. It'd be easy.
This is my first ever season as on Football Manager, so and it took me about 3 days to do.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't really play Football Manager, to be honest. I don't really understand the entire game. Like I can go in it and do some basic stuff, but I don't really understand it all. It's really complicated. So
it's very complex. Like there's all these different kind of systems and that, and then you got to sign like backroom staff, and you got to sign youth players. And I mean, it's all over the place.
Yeah, I just don't want to do that. Just get up career mode on FIFA and just let me have a go at that. On the topic of Football Manager, big shout out to all the lads, the Square Ball, who did that 24-hour live stream over the weekend in hope to raise money for the food banks, Leeds United Trust and food banks, and I think Candlelighters as well. That 24-hour stream that they streamed Football Manager. Good stream. I found it entertaining because I was staying up watching the Royal Rumble on Saturday. So while I was watching the Royal Rumble, I was also watching the 24-hour live stream. So that kept me very entertained. I'm still very tired after the weekend because the Royal Rumble was 2 nights, so staying up until 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, 2 nights in a row. I'm very tired. So yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen again.
Right. That was the weekend. It's now Thursday. You cannot still be tired.
No, I'm shattered. I'm shattered. And staying in all day as well, it gets you really tired. When you're out and about, you wake up, don't you? And when you're just lounging about inside the house, you get tired very quickly and easily. So that's what I've found anyway. But yeah, what you've said that you've had to be doing other stuff to keep yourself entertained while in lockdown. What have you been up to?
Well, as I said, did that save. I've started reading some of my old Square Balls I've got lying around. Because I like seeing how far we've come over the season.
Yeah.
I've still been getting my way through the winter special as well of theirs because it's a lot of pages, and I don't like reading a lot in full book in like an afternoon or something. I like stretching out over a few days. I've been walking about around East Leeds where I live, so yeah, I've been enjoying that. Obviously staying socially distant while I do that, but going like half an hour, 45-minute walks, kind of in big circular routes, so I always end up back at my house. But I've been enjoying that.
Yeah, I've been going on a few walks as well, and yeah, also reading a few books. I've been out in the garden quite a lot as well. I've got the footballs out of the hut, just been practicing that, hitting them against the wall. I've had a few barbecues, also, just some fun little games outside the house as well. Because it's been gorgeous weather as well over this last week, so that's been quite nice. I've still been binge watching The Office US version, still watching that. It's got really stale now though because the main character left, so it's got really stale. Sunderland Till I Die though, season 2, I watched that. That was very good. And at times that reminded me of The Office as well.
It's such a good watch. I highly recommend it to any football fan. If you're thinking my club's a bit of a mess at the moment, go watch Sunderland Till I Die, and you'll realise that it ain't that bad.
Yeah, it is a very entertaining watch, very very funny at times, and yeah, at times you're just left thinking, "What on earth is this? Is this a professional football club in League One?" You're like, "What on earth is this?"
That's probably what Leeds were like about 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah, it's crazy.
If they'd have done a behind the scenes documentary at Leeds in 2012, 2013, it would have been exactly like that.
It would have been very, very funny and also frustrating as well as a Leeds fan.
Yeah.
But no, that is very good. So if you have Netflix, go and watch that because that is very entertaining. You've got plenty of stuff on TV. You've still got the Belarusian Football League. That's still going strong. The president still hasn't seen the light yet. He's still an absolute nutter, still believing that saunas and vodka will cure COVID-19. So you got some football on, but whether it should still be being played, I don't think so. But
I mean, I highly doubt we have any listeners from Belarus, but if we do, ignore your president. He's clearly just insane.
Yeah, he's a nutter. I've got to the point now though in lockdown where I'm really starting to miss a lot of things. Like a few weeks ago I was fine, but now like I'm missing going to the barbers and just getting my hair cut.
I mean, I don't get my hair cut that often. I probably leave it a little bit too long each time, so I only get my hair cut every couple of months. But I'm coming to the realization that I'm probably about a month or so away from having to shave it all off.
Yeah, I usually get my hair cut every 4 weeks or so. So this is around the time at the start of each month I usually get my hair cut. So this is around the time where I do usually get it. It's ironic, isn't it? Because we're having to stay at home, but at the end of lockdown, we're all going to look homeless.
I think long hair does not mean you look homeless. I'm sure Luke Ayling would disagree with you there.
Yeah,
among others.
Oh no, well if you keep it like Luke Ayling does, then yeah. But if you usually get it shaved, then it's gonna look horrendous by the time lockdown finishes. So
have you ever had long hair?
I have. I think everyone did at some point. It was like year 8 for us. It was like the year 8 time in high school. Everyone growing up at some stage had very long hair.
I think between the ages of about 10 and 14, I had long hair. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. I did not look good at all. I needed to sort my hair out. But yeah, I'm just missing loads of stuff. I'm just missing stuff. But yeah, have you got any more tips? We gave some tips last week on what to do in lockdown. Have you got any more tips this week?
I'm thinking about it. Don't spend your whole day drinking, because that is my number one tip. Something which I'm guilty of occasionally. And if you
drink responsibly.
If you do that, then you don't end up doing any exercise. You end up quite, doing nothing, getting off drinking till at least after 4 p.m.
Yeah. I've had to, because I've been eating quite a lot as well during lockdown. Because you realise that you're inside and you've got all the food just sitting there, and you just start eating it also. Controlling what you drink and eat. And then doing exercise as well. That's probably the tip.
Yeah, maintain your diet, I would say. Proper diet.
Yeah. Well, moving on then. Leeds United have brought back the FIFA simulations that they've been streaming on social media. They streamed Blackburn versus Leeds last Friday night, 3rd of April. Over 33.2 thousand people have watched it, which is just insane.
3-2 win, wasn't it?
Yeah, nice 3-2 win, and again, if only it was real life, because with all the real life scores and all these FIFA scores, we would have gone 9 wins in a row and 10 unbeaten. So, if only it was real.
Yeah, if only.
Yeah, I really miss football. I miss Elland Road. I miss just going down to Elland Road and just seeing the ground. Really, I might just do that tomorrow. I might just drive down to Elland Road and just look at it, just sit there and look at the stadium.
I've just got like a mental image of you just sat in the Elland Road car park, just looking at the stadium and crying.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably going to be a visual representation of me tomorrow. That's going to be exactly me tomorrow. Yeah, I just miss it. I just really miss it. But at least we've got these FIFA simulations to look forward to. That's something to watch. I can't believe that over 33,000 people are watching these. It's mental. Like I get the attraction of watching someone else like on Twitch or someone play, FIFA competitively, because I used to watch that and that was entertaining. But just to see, a plain old simulation of a game that they're pretending is real, it's like I don't see the entertainment in that. So it's mental how many people are watching these.
Yeah, well, I suppose just the people need something to watch. There's some sport to watch. It's a kind of a bit of a distraction at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if you do want sports to watch, then the Belarusian Football League, that is still on, as I keep on saying. Also, darts as well. I'm a big fan of darts, and they've been streaming a few darts matches with some professional darts players, so that's been quite fun to watch over on YouTube. On some news now then, and of course the big news is on when football will return. So they had announced, FIFA and football authorities, they had announced that football was postponed until April the 30th, which I don't think anyone saw football being played in May. Simple as that. That was never going to happen. Well, now FIFA and football authorities, they've collectively agreed to postpone football until it is safe to continue, and the transfer window and contract end dates, etc., they will also move and then accordingly. So, all right, we're back after a few technical difficulties. Charles has rejoined me on Skype. But Charles, I don't know if you heard the end of that question, but FIFA and football authorities, they have collectively agreed to postpone all football until it's safe to continue, and the transfer window and contracts, etc., they'll all move and end accordingly. So there's no surprise there. It's a pretty sensible decision.
Yeah, I mean, I found it fairly surprising in the first place that they would put a specific end date on it when something like a pandemic doesn't really have an end date. It's like trying to predict the weather. It's not 100% when something's going to clear up. So, yeah, it seemed fairly silly they didn't just put until further notice in the first place. But
yeah,
now at least they may have come to the, what seems to be the most sensible way of postponing it for now. And I use the word postponing it in the most hopeful way possible when it comes to our season in particular.
Yeah, I mean, this is the third time that they've announced when football's gonna finish. I mean, at first it was, what was it, April the 3rd, and then they moved it to April the 30th for some reason. As you said, straight away they should have just been like, yeah, let's suspend football until it's safe to continue, because there's no end date on this. This could last for a long, long time. But again, though, it's good that they're not just voiding competitions and seasons completely. So that's pretty positive, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's encouraging to see that. Although I don't think they're doing it out of the goodness of their hearts, to be honest. I think they're just doing it because they know if they were to cancel the season, particularly the Championship or the Premier League, the hundreds of millions of pounds worth of legal challenges that will be coming their way from West Brom, Leeds, Sheffield United, Leicester, Liverpool, and anyone who's in the Wolves, all these teams would be launching legal challenges. So. And also, if they don't fulfil the fixtures, I think the broadcasters are going to take £762 million off the Premier League. So it would come to over £1 billion in what they would lose if they were to cancel the season. So they don't want to lose £1 billion.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a pretty sensible decision. Is this? So yeah, football in the UK at least is postponed until it is safe to continue, which is the end of it really there. And there's also reports that a letter has been sent to all Championship clubs by the EFL, which EFL chairman Rick Parry has revealed plans to finish the season in just 56 days, with fixtures to be played behind closed doors. And in those 8 weeks, it would see all Championship fixtures plus playoffs completed. The EFL have also told all clubs not to return to training until the 16th of May at the earliest, but they have promised to give sides adequate time to prepare for returning to action.
What they consider to be adequate time may not be what common sense would agree would be adequate time, but we'll see about that.
What, 12 hours? 12 hours should be fine, should it?
Yeah, can you play tomorrow, lads? Not really, no. Well, tough. Play or forfeit.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Charles, what are your thoughts on all that?
I think it's probably as good as we could hope for. 56 days is 2 months, so we've got 9 games to play, so that's 4 games in 1 month, 5 games in the other, optimistically, which is doable. It's like 1 game a week. I think that's fair enough, especially given how much time the players have had off, and they might be lacking in a bit of match sharpness. So giving them sufficient time between games is probably seems the fairest way to do it. So 56 days, I don't think is unreasonable. It's just shy of 2 months, isn't it? So it's probably about reasonable.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a good plan. You know, it's good that they've actually got plans in place to finish the season. Now it's not just, oh yeah, we're going to postpone it and then we are thinking about finishing it. No, there is this plan in place. You know, which is good. It's positive, and yeah, it is a reasonable plan, really. You know, to give teams time to get back into it. Also, you know, I don't think 8 weeks to finish 9 games is too unreasonable. You know, it's plenty of time to finish everything. So, those are good plans. You know, it's good that they've got plans in place, and it's a reasonable plan too. So, that's all good news, really. So, yeah, it's all positive. It's looking good for this season, this 2019-20 season, to be completed at some point. In other news, then, the big news, of course, coming out of Elland Road, is regarding the club's accounts, financial finances and accounts. So Leeds United have reported an annual pre-tax loss of £21.4 million for the year ending June 2019. The accounts cover the 2018-19 season, which of course is a season where we've just missed out on promotion. We finished third and then lost in the playoff semi-final. The club made an operating loss of more than £36 million, but player sales brought in more than £15 million. The turnover rose from 40.7 million to 48.9 million, while the total wage bill went up from £31.3 million to £46.1 million. And yeah, the season before, the club lost just £4.3 million in the 2017-18 season. So yeah, some big losses here. You know, that's quite a big loss, pre-tax loss, £21.4 million. But Charles, it's not really surprised, though, is it? We knew that the club was just on the edge, and they were just scraping by. So it's not really a big surprise, is it?
No, it's not surprised me whatsoever. I think that our accounts are probably the perfect example of how much it costs to be a successful club in the Championship without any parachute money. Because West Brom has obviously got parachute money, Fulham have got parachute money, and their accounts will be Huddersfield obviously have a bit of parachute money, so their accounts will be kind of mitigated by that. But we are running we're the best team in the division. I wouldn't say we have the best squad in the division. Fulham have probably got the best squad in the division, but we're paying our players a lot of money to play good football, but it's costing us that much. It just shows how unmanageable it is to run a football club in the Championship. It's undoable to run. You can run a mid-table club, a club that finishes 13th to 18th in the Championship, and you can run it breaking even. You could probably do it like that if you never spent any proper money, but you kept a few decent players. You could probably finish mid-table and run a sustainable club. If you want any kind of success, you have to spend money. So when I see all these like Sky and Sky and BBC Sport put their articles on it immediately. I don't know if you saw that. Despite the fact I think there are 7 clubs in worse financial state than we are in the Championship, including Birmingham City and Reading. And I think Huddersfield are worse than us as well. But we're the big names, so we're the one that gets multiple articles written about them. Yeah, well, that's the thing, isn't it? But yeah, I wasn't surprised by it. I mean, we've brought in the likes of Helder Costa. I mean,
no, but this is finishing June 2019.
Oh yeah, of course, previous year. So yeah, we did bring in a few. Obviously, brought in Casilla, didn't we? So we did bring in some players that were expensive on the wage bill, and obviously we made a few decent player sales as well. I think we sold Vieira, didn't we? We sold Roof. We sold Janssen. Although I think Janssen will be in next year's accounts. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me that we are running at this kind of loss. all this entire time, Rajazani's been saying we are right on the edge of FFP, and everyone's been saying, no, we're not. We haven't spent that much money.
Yeah.
It's like we kind of have. We spent a lot of money, and we're not really selling that many players. So
yeah, we have spent a lot. I think we spent £50 million in the summer of 2017 on just average players. I saw on Sky Sports a few months ago. So yeah, we are spending a lot of money, and you know that is quite a big pre-tax loss. £21.4 million is that. So it is quite big, but yeah, it's no surprise. We need the club were just on the edge, and you know, as you're saying, it's very hard to make a profit. You know, as an owner for a championship club, you know, but it's very hard to make a profit. You can probably make a profit owning, you know, a big worldwide club, you know, world class club, you know, like PSG or Manchester City. You can probably make a profit there, but for lower league, Premier League teams and championship clubs and every other club, really, it's very hard to make a profit, you know, very hard to make a profit. So, no, there's no need to panic here because a lot of other clubs, championship clubs and even Premier League clubs as well, they'll be in the same boat as us. They'll be losing a lot of money as well, Charles.
Yeah, you would think so. I mean, every club below the Premier League it loses money because it's just so unsustainable. I mean, I saw even Gary Neville, who is obviously no favourite of any Leeds fan, was quoted the other day as saying that the bottom club in the Premier League, Norwich, get paid £100 million for their broadcasting rights. Leeds United, the team at the top of the English Football League, top of the pyramid before you bring to the Premier League, get £3 million a year.
Yeah, and we're on TV more than them.
Yeah, is their football £97 million better than ours?
No.
I honestly don't think it's any better than ours. I think we probably would beat them this year, given how badly they've played.
Yeah.
So yeah, the absolute lack of fairness, the fact there's articles being written saying that the English football could not only lose clubs, it could lose leagues, shows you that there is a massive problem. More money needs to be shared out among the leagues.
Oh yeah, 100%. There is a massive problem.
And possibly there needs to be wage caps on players. There needs to be transfer caps in the league, and I mean, no one wants to hear this because everyone likes the kind of, you know, well, if you sign this player for 100 million, then my player's worth 120 million. Well, if your player's worth 120 million, my player's worth 140, and then you get this kind of stacking kind of stock market thing where everyone's trying to beat everyone else, and then someone signs a player for £200 million, and the market is absolutely broken. Unfortunately, in every market, any financial market, anyone tells you, in the case of a big boom, there is always a big crash. So the football market probably will crash at some point.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, 10 years ago, were Leeds signing, not even Leeds, but, you know, like decent clubs 10 or 15 years ago, players weren't going for, the most expensive players were between 60 and 80 million, weren't they? And they were considered very, very, very expensive.
Yeah.
Like Suarez going to Barcelona from Liverpool, you thought that's an insane amount of money.
Yeah.
And that was 80 million. That was what, 7 years ago?
Yeah.
And
now 60 and 80 million is just cheap.
Yeah, and you think now, Luis Suarez, 80 million. That's very good. You think anyone would pay that these days? So you think the market has to come down at some point?
Yeah, 100%. I think you alluded to Gary Neville's comments there. He was saying that there just needs to be a big reset, really, in terms of you know, finances, you know, in football, and you know how much money there is in football, because it is quite ridiculous, as you've just pointed out there. I 100% agree with everything that you've said there. You know, money is absolutely ludicrous, and especially TV deals as well. You know, if we were getting as much as Norwich were, we wouldn't we wouldn't have had such a big loss here. But because we're not getting that much in TV revenue, then we of course do have this, you know, quite big pre-tax loss of £21.4 million.
They've put this system in place. If you're in the Premier League, you earn this much. If you're not, you don't. To protect smaller clubs. So because if it was the case where the biggest audience got the most money, then the likes of Wednesday and Forest and Leeds and Villa would have far more money than teams that are currently in the Premiership, like your Brightons, your Palaces, your Watfords.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with all that. I just don't agree with how much much clubs are getting.
I mean, I do agree that the Premier League clubs should get the most money because they attract the biggest audiences. They sell the most merchandise. They're the most watched. They deserve the most money.
They get too much.
but they get far, far too much.
Yeah.
If it was staggered a bit, even like, because how unfair it is at the moment, the amount of money at the top and then the amount of money compared to League Two, it's light years away. So
Yeah.
if they could just make it slightly more fair, then the entire football league would be completely self-sustainable. No,
Yeah.
no clubs will probably ever go bust if they continue to spend. The problem is that the more money you give clubs, the more money they spend. No one
Yeah.
ever thinks. No one ever thinks, oh, we've got a good enough team. Should we just put some money aside just in case we have a bit of financial trouble? Everyone thinks, nah, sod that. Let's just sign the most expensive player possible
Yeah.
and become really, really good. I mean, because it's competition and that's sport, and you're always going to try and be better. But yeah, there is some serious issues in football at the moment that have kind of been highlighted by the pandemic because they've kind of been masked over by it. Everyone always goes, well, it's a ridiculous, unfair system. Well, and then all these, plastic Premier League fans go, oh, no, it's completely fair. We get the most views. It's like, well, yeah. Then you get the likes of Bury going bust and clubs coming very close to the line. You get clubs like, I think Lincoln have furloughed the staff and are a bit worried about their money. So, and they've only recently come up through the leagues. So there is a serious issue there.
Yeah, 100%. I 100% agree with you there. We went off on a bit of a tangent there, though.
Yeah, sorry.
So yeah, just to conclude this, there's no surprise with the fact that we've had a pre-tax loss of £21.4 million. There's no surprise, but there's no need to panic. A lot of people I've seen on social media panicking about this. There's no need to panic. A lot of other Championship clubs and Premier League clubs, they'll be in the same boat as us. They'll be losing a lot of money. It's very hard to make a profit as a football club. So yeah, no need to panic at all. I mean, there's a reason owners sell clubs eventually because they're tired of losing money. So
yeah, because football clubs are money pits. They are. Yeah. Even successful football clubs are. Even Manchester City is a money pit. They're the kind of oil barons that own Man City are still throwing hundreds of millions into it.
Yeah.
So it's the football clubs are treated by rich people as vanity projects, whereas they're obviously far more than that for the fans. But yeah, Leeds. To come back to Leeds, we're running on kind of a 3-year cycle, like everyone in the Championship does, where obviously you get a new manager in, you spend a bit of money, you spend a bit more money, and then the third season, if you don't go up, right, we've spent too much, we're about to breach FFP, sell all the players, and then you have to restart. So every club in the Championship kind of goes on that cycle.
Yeah.
So we spent money in the 2017-2018 season, spent much more money in the 2018-2019 season. So now we have to go up in the 2019-2020 season, otherwise we will have to sell. Have to get rid of Bielsa. We'll have to sell Phillips. We'll have to.
Yeah, we'll be in a bit of trouble.
We'll lose Casilla. We'll probably have to get rid of Bamford because he's on wages too high. We'll have to sell all these players and then buy much cheaper players. Otherwise, we will breach FFP. So
yeah,
that's just the way it's.
Yeah, we'll be in quite a bit of trouble. Reports also revealed that Leeds may have to pay bonuses of almost £20 million to players and management staff if we were to be promoted to the Premier League, which isn't really a surprise. I think with every team who's pushing for promotion, there's always some bonuses there, so that's no surprise really. If you're at your work and you get promoted, you want a bonus, don't you? So there's no surprise there really. And finally, Leeds United have launched a fun Easter challenge. Remember remember the thing that we used to do in primary school where you'd make some big sets around Easter time. You make these like big sets of like boxes and stuff. You'd make it into something and you put eggs there as people. So it's like a big Lego set, but it's made out of boxes and eggs that we used to do in primary school. It's basically that Leeds United have launched, and it's called the Fun Easter Challenge. And so, yeah, it's basically that what I just said, but it's centered around Leeds United. So it's Leeds United themed stuff. And yeah, people have until Easter Sunday, the 12th of April, this Sunday, to enter, which they can do online using the hashtag LUFC Easter Challenge. And there's also loads of prizes as well, including signed memorabilia. So, I mean, it sounds good. I might have a go at this. I might have to enter.
I mean, it's always a pass of time, isn't it, really?
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's probably aimed at people slightly younger than you.
Yeah, kids, yeah.
1 year old. But if you've got nothing to do, you may as well do it.
Yeah, it'll be quite fun. I miss doing that really. I remember doing that in primary school, and yeah, it was quite a lot of fun to be honest. I remember loads of people just bringing them into school on the day, and all the eggs would drop on the floor and break. I remember that, but I quite miss doing that. That was a lot of fun.
You just miss laughing at kids dropping eggs on the floor, I think.
Oh dear. But yeah, I mean, it could be worth giving it a go, but I think it's mainly for the younger people. So, yeah, a lot of fun there. Fun Easter challenge that Leeds United have launched. So get yourself involved in that if you can. Yeah, that could be quite a lot of fun. Well, let's now move on to what I thought would be, quite an interesting topic to discuss on the podcast, and that is our top 5 Leeds United goals of all time. So me and Charles, we put together a list with, of course, one being the best goal we think, and then obviously down to 5 and etc. So
I'd like to clarify that I was told to mainly stick to goals I was there for. So before everyone starts coming at me about goals in the 70s and goals in the 90s,
yeah.
when he says all time,
why didn't you include Yeboah or whatever?
Yeah, because I wasn't alive in 1995 when he scored the screamer against Liverpool. So we've exclusively, or I have anyway, I've exclusively chosen goals during my lifetime, and mostly ones that I have seen. So just to put that disclaimer out there, we don't want abuse in the comments on the line about us choosing, goals that aren't quite as good as other goals, because obviously we're only choosing goals from when we've been watching Leeds, and we're only 21.
Yeah, and we'll of course give our reasons for why these goals and where we've ranked them. So, Charles, we'll start with you. Number 5. We'll go from number 5 down to number 1. So, what goal is number 5 for you?
Number 5, I'm gonna go with. This was actually a really good goal. I think it was from 2016. It was Lewis Cook's 25-yard belter against Fulham.
Yes.
He kind of picks up the ball, and the amount of power he gets into it he doesn't even really take much of a run up and just belts it in the far corner. It's when we got the kind of black, I think it's in the black and like lime green kit we had. I didn't really like that kit, but that goal was an absolute screamer. I was in the East Stand for that one because I only ever sat in the East Stand or the West Stand until I was about 16, 17, because my mum used to get antsy about me sitting in the South Stand until I was a bit older. So I was sat in there. I think I was sat with my dad, and obviously that was kind of before all this madness that the second half of the decade took off. I think that was in the Steve Evans season.
Yeah, it was.
So that obviously not that long ago compared to other goals I've seen scored, but I just thought it was an absolute belter at the time. And as Lewis Cook was kind of homegrown, and he wasn't that much older than me. I think he's only 2 or 3 years older than us. I love that goal, so that's why I chose that one. That was my number 5.
Yeah, that is a very good goal. I loved that goal. Watching it, I wasn't at the game. I was watching on TV, and just that goal coming up, it was fantastic. It was the highlight, a very big highlight in what was a very poor season, really. Number 5 for me is Luciano Becchio's goal versus Chelsea in the quarterfinals of the Capital One Cup.
Great goal.
In 2012, December 2012. Now, obviously, went on to lose that game 5-1, unfortunately.
But it happened. I remember that.
But we were 1-0 up at half time, and it was fantastic. There was a big buzz around, and I remember that because I was in the East Stand. I was with my dad and his friend and his son and whatever, and it was a packed out Elland Road. Really, I think the South Stand that was shut because they had a big Capital One logo there just to get the advertising money there. So but other than that, it was a packed out Elland Road. Everyone was up for it. Chelsea, they put out their first team. They had all the good players playing. They had the likes of Eden Hazard, David Luiz, Lampard. They had their best players. I think Torres played in that as well. They played their first full first team, the Chelsea, and we had average players. Michael Tong, Michael Brown. No, I really average players.
In living memory.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2012, so it's the Neil Warnock team. We were under Neil Warnock. It was Neil Warnock's team.
Was it Paul Green on the wing as well?
Yeah, it was a very, very poor team, and no one expected us to win. I think Chelsea, they were dominating, but Jamie Ashdown in goal had a fantastic first half. And then towards the end of the first half, we go on the counter attack. I think it's David Luiz. He loses the ball out to Byram. And then all of a sudden, I think it's Michael Tongue who plays it out to the left towards Jerome Thomas. And then a fantastic ball into the centre to Luciano Becchio. It was outside of his right foot. A fantastic cross to Luciano Becchio. And he just slides down, taps it home first time, getting the wrong side of Peter Cech. And it was a fantastic goal in the rain as well, under the lights, packed out on the road, and the noise was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. And I loved that goal. When it was so awesome celebrating that. We had just gone 1-0 up at home against Chelsea's first team when we had an average team. So it was fantastic. Brilliant goal. Of course, the second half, we need to forget that because we end up losing 5-1. So that was horrendous. But just that first half and that goal, it was something special. That was fantastic. So that is number 5 for me. It could have been a bit higher up, but it was a fantastic goal and one that sticks out for me, certainly. Number 4 then, Charles, what have you got?
Well, I had to choose between 2 here because I also wanted to put a Becchio goal in because he is my favourite Leeds player in my time supporting the club. So I couldn't really... I think I ended up choosing the Borough goal in 2012, but I really wanted to stick the Millwall goal in from the playoff semi-final in 2009 because that was just an insanely good goal and the atmosphere was brilliant. I wasn't there for either game, sadly. I know we were supposed to choose the ones that I was there for, but I wanted to choose... I saw a lot of Becchio goals, but his best goals, like the Chelsea one, the Borough one, and the Millwall one, I wasn't actually there for, annoyingly, because I only got to about 5 games a season. Just because just getting tickets and that, and get me dad to take me down. But yeah, I went with the Borough goal just because it's such a. Obviously, I think it's we win the ball back in midfield. I don't know if it's Snoddy that wins the ball back. And he gets put out wide, he gets whipped in, and obviously he bangs it across on his left foot into the far side netting. And it's always the one that everyone goes on about. And obviously after the game, he gets getting interviewed and obviously swears on camera. I won't repeat what he said because obviously we don't like swearing on the pod either. He was swearing at the reporters how good of a goal it was, and I love Becchio, and it broke my heart when Neil Warnock told him.
Oh yeah, 100%. And it broke my heart when I went on Sky Sports News and he had a clip of Becchio in his car arriving at Norwich. And they asked him, what you make of your move to Norwich? And it was like, very good, very good. I hated watching that. It was awful. But it broke my heart when he left as well.
I've got many reasons I hate Norwich. I mean, the fact that they always seem to be ahead of us in the leagues. The fact that they signed all of our best players. But Becchio hurt the most. And the fact that they sent him on loan to Rotherham and killed his career, I'm never going to forgive Norwich for that.
And sent us Steve Morrison as well.
Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah, I hate Norwich. I hate Norwich. But no, that was...
That's my number 4. I went for the Borough goal. Although, very, very honourable mention, the Millwall goal, because the atmosphere looked amazing there.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that Millwall goal didn't make my list, only because we did end up losing that game and not going to the playoff finals. But that was a very good goal, though. That one against Millwall and against Middlesbrough as well. Number 4 for me, though, it's one from last season, right at the very end of last season. It's Stuart Dallas versus Derby County in the playoff semi-final. Now, obviously that obviously we don't want to mention what happened, in that game because obviously we went on to lose. But
which one? He scored 2 in the game.
Oh, the first one when we went 2-0 up in aggregate.
To be honest, the second one was probably a better goal.
Oh yeah,
he runs up the pitch, cuts in, and curls it far corner.
Yeah, definitely a better goal, but just the emotion when we went 2-0 up in aggregate. Obviously went on to ball it, but the emotion you felt when that ball went into the back of the net. Oh, it was incredible because
his second one brought it back to a draw.
Yeah,
on aggregate.
Yeah, no, but the first one though. So it's the first time we've been in the championship playoffs. As I've been growing up, of course we're against Watford and stuff in championship playoff semi-finals. But my time watching Leeds, that's the first time I've been to a playoff semi-final at Elland Road. It was beautiful weather. Of course, I packed out Elland Road as usual. The atmosphere was fantastic, And of course, we were 1-0 up already, and we were like, right, if we get a goal, then we're through. And that goal, I think it's around 25 minutes or so, that goal comes. And just the noise of Elland Road, the emotion, it's boiling hot. You're already emotional, and then that goal goes in. It's just, I've never felt anything like it when that goal went in. Obviously, it was an emotional rollercoaster, that game, because of course we ended up losing. But when that goal went in, it was just a special feeling. So that goal, although we did lose the game, it had to go in for me. It was just a special goal.
I honestly believe if Jack Marriott hadn't scored just before half time, we'd have won that game.
Oh yeah, 100%. Kiko Kase's fault there.
It was a mixture of, it was miscommunication between him and Cooper, but on multiple occasions during that game. But I honestly think if we'd have got in 1-0 at half time, we'd have seen that out.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was when Derby hit the post in that game. That's when they kind of got back into it, because they're like, oh, we come close there, so let's actually try playing football. But no, when we went 2-0 up, it was just an amazing feeling. So yeah, that's got number 4 for me. What almost got number 4 was Howson's goal versus Carlisle, but I wasn't there for that one. I was a little kid just watching on TV, so that one hasn't gone in for me. But yeah, the Dallas one against Derby, yeah, definitely gone in for me. Number 3 then, Charles, what have you gone?
I've gone for Kemar Roof's first goal for Leeds United against Aston Villa at Elland Road. Incredible cross from Salman Dakara, nodded in at the near post. Brilliant goal. I was in the cheese wedge. I was in there with my mate's dad, because my mate was going to go with his dad. And then my mate couldn't go because of some, I can't remember why. It was I think it was December 2016. And he said, "Oh, do you fancy going?" And I went, "Yeah, of course. It's Aston Villa, big game. They've just come down from Premier League. Of course, I want to go." But yeah, I think we ended up winning that game 2-0. I think Chris Wood got it eventually, although it was a weird one because Hadi Sacco ran the length of the pitch for the second goal.
Yeah, Chris Wood stole it.
And Chris Wood stole it on the line, but that was like the 90th minute or something. But that whip cross from the car, nodded in by Roof, just absolute limbs in the cheese wedge, and I just loved it. So, and that was the point in the Monk season where I thought we might be honest, we actually might be having a good season this year, because we normally we'd start well and then obviously just drift off and be awful, and then for the rest of the season, and then just finish mid-table. But because the Monk season kind of got started, we started winning more games after October, and that was in December, and we all thought this could be it. And that was a really big win against a really big team at the time. Yeah, it was just a brilliant goal for me. And obviously, Roof went on to score quite a few goals for us, and that was his first goal for the club. But yeah, just a fond memory.
Yeah, that was a very good goal. I was in the North Stand for that goal, and yeah, it was incredible. I loved that night. When I was writing down the goals that I wanted to put in this list, that one didn't come to mind. So you've jogged my memory of that one. That was a fantastic one. But number 3 for me, again, comes from last season, and it's Pablo Hernandez's goal against West Brom at Elland Road in that 4-0 win. 16 seconds on the clock, and Pablo Hernandez puts Leeds United 1-0 up.
That made my honourable mentions list.
Yeah, no, that had to go in my top 5 list for me, and it's got number 3 here. Just that week, because that week in midweek, I think it was Tuesday night, we had lost 1-0 away at QPR, and there was, of course, that picture of Marcelo Bielsa in the tunnel, just looking really sad. And at that point, you just felt we bottled it here, we bottled promotion here.
That was a weird game. I mean, I remember like Izzy Brown coming on and then just trying his best to get sent off.
Yeah,
that was such a strange game.
Yeah,
and Luke Freeman kind of just tore us apart for 90 minutes, and then we thought, right, well, if they've just done us, QPR, who were terrible, then West Brom are going to come at the weekend and destroy us.
It was an awful week because, on the Tuesday night, we had lost 1-0 away at QPR. And then just 3 days later, on the Friday night, we were playing West Brom at home, who, I think they were above us. And, oh no, were they below us? I think they were below us, actually. But you were just thinking, they're going to beat us here because we've just lost to QPR. You just felt as, at that point, we've balled this now. But then we go against West Brom. They have kickoff. So you're thinking, right, they're going to get a good start here, maybe. But then they launch it long. Cooper wins a header. Jack Harrison down the left-hand side, cuts it into Pablo Hernandez in the centre. And just, no backlift. It just toe pings it into the top left-hand corner. It was just an unreal goal. And 16 seconds in, I've never seen a goal live that quickly before. And, packed out Elland Road, good atmosphere. And for that goal to go in 16 seconds, it was just special. So that had to go in for me. That was just, it was an awesome goal, fantastic strike. And also the emotion as well from it. It was just fantastic. And there was a real big relief when that went in. So, that had to go in for me.
That was a special goal. It's probably one of my favourite goals I've seen in the last few years. But it did not make my top 5. It did not. All
right, so number 2 then.
Number 2 for me, I think, is a fairly obvious one. This one, it's the Dukara Thunder Strike against Nottingham.
Oh, yes.
January 2017. I was in the South Stand for this one. So the way we saw it is because it was scored at the Kop end. It was weird because the ball, because of the perspective, for me, just seemed to kind of stop in the air as it was kind of, obviously, as he hit it so straight, and he hit it so straight in the top left corner, and it just kind of stopped, and then you thought, this is never going in, is it? And it obviously just, not position down because that's top right, but, top left bin, perfect. You couldn't have picked it out any better. And it was, Forest were having an awful season. I think they ended up surviving on like goal difference or by like 1 point in the Championship, but so they weren't brilliant that season. But it was just such a good goal. And, I didn't really like Dukara as a player. And I know he's featured twice on this list, once for an assist and once for a goal. But that was such a good goal. And obviously, if you ask any Leeds fan, best goal, one of the best goals in the past 3 or 4 years, nearly every single one of them will mention.
Oh, yeah, 100%. That almost made my list as well, but of course, Dukara part of a 606, so it didn't go in for me. And also, I was in the South Stands as well, so I didn't really get too good a view. I was low down in the South Stand, so I didn't really get a good view of that goal live. So, that hasn't gone in for me. But another, definitely a fantastic strike. Probably the best goal I have seen live, to be honest enough. Just, it was a phenomenal strike. Just a phenomenal strike.
I think it's probably the second best, because the best is is number 1 on my list. I'm really hoping your number 2 or number 1 don't clash with my number 2 or number 1.
Well, my number 1 and number 2, they're both scored by this exact same player. So my number 2 is Jermaine Beckford against Manchester United. Of course, 3rd of January 2010, 19th minute. And 1-0 win, the goal that won the game. And it wasn't even that. I mean, you could say it was a good goal, but was it really? I mean, it was just a long ball forward from Johnny House, and we had won it. I think Man United had a free kick. They played it long into our own half. Then we won the ball back. House and played it long forward. Jermaine Beckford. I mean, he even admits himself it was a horrible first touch.
Great effort to beat the offside trap, though.
Oh, yeah. He stayed onside, which was great, because I thought it was offside at first. But yeah, Jermaine Beckford even admits himself it was an awful first touch. But luckily, he managed to get a second touch on the ball, and that second touch was a fantastic touch because the ball ended up going in the back of the net. So it was a good finish in the end, really. And yeah, so I wasn't at the game, but I remember I was at a party because I was in year 6 and there was someone having a party. I think it was at Escape. We were playing laser tag or something. So I was there. So I was busy. I couldn't even watch the game on TV. But we had someone who kept on running off to the pub to check the score. And we were just like, yeah, go and check the score. Go and check the score for us. And he kept on going back saying, no, it's still 1-0. And I'm like, you're lying here. It's definitely not 1-0 to Leeds still. But yeah, of course, we ended up winning 1-0. And yeah, it was just fantastic. And I even remember when the draw was made. I was in my car and the draw was being made live on the radio. And me and my dad were really hoping that we were going to get drawn against Man United, because I think it was Leeds, Man United, and then there was 2 others in the last 4, obviously. And I think we were the last tie to be drawn out, and we were really hoping that we would get Man United, and we ended up, we did, and of course we ended up winning. And Jermaine Beckford's goal, forever in the memory. Of course, the January 3rd, remember the date. Everyone's going to remember that date, from now until when they die, really. So, yeah, fantastic goal. That had to be in my list, 100%.
Emotionally, and part of the fabric of the club, very important goal. I would not say best individual goal, as in skill or ability, but yeah, obviously a very important part of the history of the club for the last 10 years, and a worthy admission to the top 5, I would say.
Yeah.
Right. You want my number 1?
Yeah, go on.
I mean, I reckon you already know what my number 1 is. It is definitely my favourite goal I've seen live. It's the Matthias Click goal away at Sheffield Wednesday last season. I think it's September 2018, I reckon. Although it's not entirely certain. But me and you were there. We got away tickets. Obviously, we went 1-0 down to another absolute screamer from Adam Reach from about 40 yards. He just volleyed it from a throw in, and it went in off the post.
Questionable goalkeeping from Peacock Fowler.
I honestly, mate, I don't think anyone would have saved that. It was just a freak goal. Adam Reach scores a lot of them though. But anyway, about the Click goal, just a brilliant goal. And just absolute scenes. I think I had it for me wallpaper on Twitter for ages, and just the away end in Hillsborough, just was all going mental. And I also remember someone, I don't know how, because we got searched so thoroughly going in, didn't we? We got like proper airport search, and someone still managed to sneak a flare in, set a flare up when we scored.
As you say, me and you were both there. And it was a fantastic goal, fantastic strike, and when that went in, the away end just erupted. It was absolutely brilliant. So that goal almost went in for me as well. But number one for me has to be Jermaine Beckford versus Bristol Rovers, 2010, the 8th of May, Saturday, 8th of May, 2010, 2-1 win over Bristol Rovers on the last day of the season in League One to take us up into the Championship. And So I wasn't at the game, but I was listening to it on the radio, and it was the first time ever that I could hear Elland Road, the fans at Elland Road, from my back garden. I could hear everything. It was unbelievable. It was fantastic weather. I think we were having a barbecue, but of course we went down to 10 men. Max Gradle got himself sent off stupidly, and
I don't know why he did that.
Yeah, and
weird sending off.
And didn't it take about two security guards to take him off the pitch as well? He just refused to go off.
Well, I think he was about inches from fighting the referee. I mean, Jermaine Beckford grabs him and drags him off. Essentially, drags him off the pitch because he's about to literally punch the referee in the face.
Yes.
If you watch the clip back, he has to be dragged away by definitely Beckford. I don't know if anyone else helped him off. But,
a security guard came on in a suit and took him down the tunnel.
Because he was absolutely livid.
But he deserved to be sent off because it was stupid. He just went and just stood on the guy's foot, didn't he?
I don't know why he did it though.
Yeah, it was so weird.
It was just kind of the stuff that just Mad Max did. He just used to do weird stuff.
Yeah, he was a great player though. But when we went down 10 men, you were just thinking, oh, that's it now, isn't it? We're down 10 men. We're going to lose here. And then we went 1-0 down in the second half. And you were just thinking, down 10 men, 1-0 down. We're definitely going to lose here. You just thought we were definitely going to lose. But thankfully, Howson then scored. I think that was around 55 minutes or so. And that got us back into it. And then, unbelievably, because you think about the Beckford goal against Bristol Rovers and you think, all right, it's come late on. But it came on 63 minutes. So it went 2-1 up.
Kind of midway through the second half.
Yeah, so 63 minutes. Beckford scores. We're 2-1 up with 10 men. And somehow that goal takes us up, because every time you think about it and you don't look at you don't remember when it was scored, you always think, all right, it's late on because it won us the game. But no, 63 minutes, and it was a good finish, really. You may argue with that, but it was a keeper mistake though, first of all, though, because the goalkeeper threw it out and it hit Bradley Johnson on the head. And then just came back down perfectly for Beckford to smash into the back of the net. It was just a fantastic goal. And even though I wasn't there, I was still enjoying it. I could hear it on the road from my back garden, and it was just fantastic. I think my granddad was there as well, and he's a big Leeds United fan. So, it was just fantastic. And that goal, again, very important in Leeds United's history, taking us from League One to the Championship. So that had to go in the top 5 for me, even though I wasn't there to witness it. It had to go in the top 5 for me because just the emotion, the significance of that goal in Leeds United's history, it's very important. So that goal had to go in for me. I don't think those are too bad top 5 lists. I think a lot of people will be disagreeing with us. They'll have different top 5 lists. So just let us know what would go in your top 5 football lists. But I don't think those are too bad. Some honourable mentions. So of course you mentioned Dakara versus Forest. I almost put Chris Wood's goal versus Brighton in the list. Yeah. And also Chris Wood's equaliser away at Newcastle as well.
I was at parties for both of them goals. Different parties. I remember watching it in live in my mate's living room, the Newcastle equaliser, and we played so badly to to manage to get a draw out of that game was.
Oh yeah,
it was robbery.
It was Rob Green, wasn't it? It was Rob Green who just had a fantastic game, just saved everything.
Yeah, he had an absolutely inspired game in goal, did Rob Green. How he did not lose that game 4-0, I will never know.
Yeah, I remember that because I was watching on TV in my living room, and we had some people over from America, some family members over from America, and they had no idea what was going on. I was in my living room by myself just watching it, and when that going in, I got up. I was celebrating loudly because it was a fantastic goal and significant as well, and they were just looking at me like, "What on earth is this? What's he celebrating?" But no, that was a good goal, so that had to get an honourable mention. Bradley Johnson's goal against Arsenal. Again, another fantastic goal that has to get a mention. Any other goals that you want to just mention really quickly?
Rudy Austin volley against Watford where he lobbed Gomez into the far corner. Brilliant goal. Do you remember that?
Rudy Austin scored a lot of good goals during his time at Leeds. Aidy White's goal against Everton as well in the Carling Cup.
Yeah, brilliant goal that. See, feel free to send yours in. Don't send us any abuse if you disagree with any of ours, because frankly, I won't read it. So
I mean, it's all down to opinion, really. Yeah, but I don't think those are too bad for top 5 goals lists.
Just want to remind everyone again that those are goals from our lifetimes. I'm sure there are better goals that Leeds have scored.
Yeah, like your Boa's goal and all the rest of it. But from our lifetime, from what connects with us, those are the top 5 goals for us there. Well, let's move on then. Let's move on to some questions. So each week we ask viewers and listeners to send us questions for me and Charles to answer. We'll do our best to answer the questions. And we got a good one here from Luke Emery on YouTube, who asked, do you guys think that we will see the likes of Elland Meslier and Ian Pervada next season if we get into the Premier League? So basically, if Leeds go up this season, he's basically asking who's staying and who's going, really, if we go up to the Premier League. So, Charles, for you, what players can you see cutting it in the Premier League in this current Leeds United team?
I know we haven't obviously seen much of Meslier. I would like him to become our number one over the next year. I would like him. I know everyone talks about keepers like, oh yeah, you should always have a keeper in that as one of the oldest members of the squad. You always want more experienced keepers, but if they're good enough, I would like to see Meslier get an extended running goal.
Yeah.
Especially given the kind of controversy with Kiko this season, that obviously would help the Leeds board in making a decision with regards to that. Also, not going to go into any detail of that now. I would like us to sign Ben White on a permanent. I would think he would cut it in the Premier League.
Yeah, 100%. Ben White will certainly cut it. I think in the summer, whenever the summer transfer window comes, Ben White is going to have a lot of interest in him because, of course, he's only on loan. He's going to go back to Brighton, and I think a lot of top clubs will have an eye on him. So hopefully we can sign him. I agree with you, Elland Meslier. I really want him to become our number one because he's shown good signs now, and he's 20 years old. He's shown good signs, and I really like to think of him. I like to think that he's going to be, the next Courtois, the next De Gea, the next Manuel Neuer. A keeper like that. A young keeper who's highly rated. He's come from absolutely nowhere, but he's putting in fantastic performances. I like to think that he's going to be the next really big world class goalkeeper. You've got the likes of Donnarumma in Italy. I think Meslier could be, France's next good goalkeeper, really. So, Meslier definitely.
I don't know if I would rate him that highly, but I would be satisfied.
No, don't rate him highly too yet. I like to think that he will get to that stage at some point in his career.
I would be happy if he just rose to the level of kind of like a mid-level, Premier League keeper, like Ben Foster, or someone like that, someone who's just kind of Fabianski, that kind of level. I would love it if he got that kind of level playing for Leeds. And also, given his age, I would just like a keeper that plays for Leeds for a number of years. I would like a long-term keeper, because every keeper we've had over the last few years has either been awful or we've only had them for a season.
Yeah. You'd of course hope that Marcelo Bielsa would stay if we go up to the Premier League. You'd hope that he'd just put pen to paper on the new contract. I mean, why wouldn't you? If you've taken a team up to the Premier League and you get to play a Premier League, manage a team who's playing Premier League football week in, week out, and you're against the likes of Pep Guardiola, Jose Mourinho, Jurgen Klopp, you'd think that he would stay. So, if we do go up, hopefully, you'd hope that Bielsa would stay. I think that we could surprise quite a lot of teams playing Bielsa ball in the Premier League. I reckon we could surprise a few. Pablo Hernandez, that's an interesting one. Would he cut it in the Premier League, do you think? He's 34 now.
He's 35 next week, I think, or week
Yeah.
after. He's very close to being 35. He would cut it as a bench player. I would use him as like an impact player. I wouldn't use him in any cup games. Or if he wanted to start, I'd only start him every other week because I think he's just gonna slow down.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not getting any younger as Pablo Hernandez, so it's definitely an interesting one. I don't think he'd be able to do a job in the Premier League, Pablo Hernandez, but at his age, 35 years old, you'd probably get a replacement in for him, but he'd be good as a backup, really. Just have that experience. Calvin Phillips, obviously, he'd cut it in the Premier League. He'd cut it, right at the top level in the Champions League. Maybe would Calvin Phillips. Helder Costa. Of course, we have the obligation to buy if we do go up, so he'd have to stay. Jack Harrison, would you want to sign him permanently? Because there is an option there.
I would. I think 8 million is quite reasonable for. I mean, didn't Huddersfield pay like 20 million for that winger who's done absolutely nothing for them? So I'd like to think that the strides that Jack Harrison's made from his first season to his second season, could do from the second season to the third season. I'd like to think he would get that much better again. And I think he's turning in some more consistent performances now. He's becoming a much better player. Obviously, he's still young himself. He's 23, I think Jack Harrison is, something like that. So he's still got room to improve. So time to get better. And I think for the money they're asking, it's not unreasonable. I would sign.
Yeah, I reckon he'd do a good job in the Premier League. He did a fantastic job against Arsenal in that FA Cup third round game away there. So he did a good job there. So I reckon he could do a good job in the Premier League. And of course, Mateusz Klich, you'd probably keep hold of him. He's a key player to the team. Luke Ayling as well. He's got a long-term contract, and so is Liam Cooper as well. So they're probably going to stay because they've got very long contracts. Tyler Roberts, would you keep him? Would you have him playing in the Premier League?
I really like Tyler Roberts.
So do I.
Really enjoy watching him play. He doesn't get enough game time, I think, for what his quality and his effort warrants. But I'm always very happy when I see him on the team sheet because I think he gives a lot of kind of is more a flair player up front than Bamford is. He's got more kind of innovation about him. Obviously, I'm not doubting Bamford's attacking movement or his pressuring or is obviously Bamford. I think Bamford's probably slightly better in the air than Roberts is. Although to be fair, that second goal versus Hull was brilliant in the air.
It was.
But I would love to see Tyler Roberts get extended run in the team. He's another player that's very young. He's only 20, 21 years old, so he's got plenty of time to improve as well. I would like to see him get more minutes. The same way, I'd love to see Jamie Shackleton get more minutes. I'd like to see a lot more of the youth team break through and get more minutes, but there's a certain amount of realism with it because as much as we want to play youth players every week in the Premier League, we also need to win games. I'm not saying that youth players can't win games, but I think we're more likely with senior players. Yeah. So it's always that balancing act, isn't it? I would love to Tyler Roberts get more minutes.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm a big fan of Tyler Roberts as well. Luke Henry Day, he asked about Poveda and the likes of Poveda and Augustin. We can't really give an opinion on because we haven't seen him play first team football yet. So obviously, if we do go up, in Poveda, he's ours, so he's not going to go anywhere. He's not on loan. He is ours, so he's going to stay at the club. And Augustin as well, there's an obligation to pay if we go up, so he'd be ours regardless. So hopefully we do see those players more if when the season or if the season resumes. Patrick Bamford though. For me, he would not cut in the Premier League, and we'd need a replacement for him.
Yeah, we yet to see how good Augustin can be against Championship opposition. Obviously, he's had a bit of an injury at the moment, but given we've had a few weeks off, you'd like to think he'd be nearly back from his injury and back training. Whether or not he's good enough to replace, kind of displace Bamford from the team in Bielsa's eyes, I don't know, because it seems like you've got to be prime Brazilian Ronaldo to displace Patrick Bamford out of this side in Marcelo Bielsa's eyes for some reason.
Unless you're Pele, you're not replacing Bamford in Marcelo Bielsa's eyes.
Prime Pele. But I would. Obviously, we already bought a striker in January. We're obligated to pay quite a lot of money for him, so we'll have to see about that. But I don't know that he would be able to cut it. But I also
I'd say if we go up, the club should sell Bamford because he's on a very high wage. He's obviously, he's very well thought of at Leeds United because, he's a record signing. So, I'd say that if we do go up, he cannot cut in the Premier League and you need to sell him and you need to bring in a replacement. That's just my opinion.
Can you think of another club that will pay £10 million for Patrick Bamford, though?
Exactly. That's the thing. No Championship club's going to pay that. I think maybe Crystal Palace, they'd probably pay it. Crystal Palace always buy those types of players. They bought like Connor Wickham, didn't they? And stuff like that.
Benteke, who kind of does that kind of role as well. But yeah, I mean, I just don't think Palace will buy him. And Palace will still be in the Premier League anyway, so they won't want him off us.
Yeah.
He might end up moving abroad, or we might have to sell him for a heavily reduced fee back to a Championship side.
Yeah, but I do think if we go up, what are the main signings we need to make if we go up?
Left back. I love Stuart Dallas, but we do not have a left back, and we haven't had one for 3 years, and it's starting to annoy me now. We need a proper out-and-out left-footed left back who we can rely on for years. Yeah. We haven't had one for ages. I know Bielsa doesn't really like playing players in the number 10 role. I know he likes playing players, the kind of central players out deeper and then wingers out wide, and then having obviously the striker fly about. I would like a proper number 10.
Yeah.
I think that's probably necessary. And I would like one more centre back because I think we're short in that position.
Yeah. I think if we go up, definitely 4 signings need to be made. I think a left-footed left back, just to play there and just stay there for years to come. Definitely, because I like Alioski, but he's pretty average. Playing left back in a back 4. Really, he's very good going forward. Barry Douglas just hasn't really cut it really so far at Leeds United.
He's in his 30s now as well, Douglas, so he's getting on.
Yes. So I don't think he has a future at Leeds United as old as Barry Douglas. And Stuart Dallas, right-footed left back, he does a very good job, but I don't think he should be starting at left back if we do go up. So yeah, definitely a left-footed left back to play at left back. I'd bring in another defender, 100%. I think Bavardi, he's out of contract. He hasn't signed a new contract yet, so he'd probably be out the door. So definitely, get another centre back in. If Ben White goes, get 2 centre backs in. A number 10, I just say, just someone to create things, and then obviously we need to see how Augustin is, but if he's not too good, if Bamford needs to go, then another striker, and those are the positions. So centre back, left back, midfield, and striker are the positions. Just get a really good spine in the team, a really rock solid Premier League experienced spine in the Leeds United team for me, if we go up. But it was a very good question though from Luke Emery. I appreciate you putting in your question. Hopefully me and Charles are giving you the answer that you wanted. I thought it was very interesting, very good question. So many thanks to Luke for that good question. Remember to get your questions in. Everyone who's listening or watching right now, get your questions in for Charles and I to answer on the podcast. You can just comment on Facebook or YouTube, send us a message, send us a DM or tweet. All Things Leeds 1 on Twitter and Instagram, All Things Leeds on Facebook. Just search All Things Leeds and you'll be sure to find it. So just get your questions in for Charles and I to do our best to answer on the podcast. But that does bring us to the end of episode 62 of the All Things Leeds podcast. Yet another weird and different episode, of course, still in lockdown, in self-isolation. But thank you very much, as always, to Charles for joining me.
Thanks very much for having me on, mate, once again. Apologies for technical difficulties.
Yeah, no worries. It's always going to come in times like these. Not everyone has superb internet, do they? So, difficulties will always occur, really. But no, I appreciate you joining me, mate. Listen, stay healthy, stay safe. And stay at home as much as you can, really, and stay safe, stay healthy, and thank you to everyone who has watched or listened. We really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed and if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star rating. Make sure to share the podcast around as well. Follow All Things Leeds on social media, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. All Things Leeds 1 on Twitter and Instagram, and All Things Leeds on Facebook. Subscribe on YouTube as well, All Things Leeds on there. We really appreciate everyone tuning in. Of course, during these difficult and unprecedented times, I do want to remind everyone to follow the advice to save lives and save the NHS. But yeah, until next time, take care, guys. Stay healthy, stay safe, and we'll see you later.